First contact gone wrong. Dr. Sarah Chen stood frozen before the quantum communications array, her hands trembling as she replayed the message for the fifth time. The alien transmission had arrived exactly 3 hours ago, bypassing every conventional detection system humanity had established. It wasn't the existence of alien life that shocked her. Humanity had long suspected they weren't alone. It was the content of the message that chilled her to the bone. The holographic display flickered to life once more, showing the alien being's features distorted by what appeared to be smoke or debris. Its crystalline skin reflected emergency lights, creating a kaleidoscope of colors that would have been beautiful under different circumstances. This is Emergency Beacon 2749 of the Crystalline Collective. To any civilization capable of receiving this message, they are coming. The Void Swarm has awakened. The Council refuses to acknowledge the threat. Our warnings were dismissed as paranoia. Now our worlds burn. Do not trust the Council's assurances. Prepare, hide, or fight if you can, but do not. The transmission cut off there, just as it had the previous 4 times. Sarah took a deep breath, steadying herself against the console. The Mauna Kea Observatory's quantum lab was empty at this hour, but she knew that wouldn't last long. Her emergency alert had probably already reached the Global Defense Council. Within 30 minutes, the lab filled with military personnel and government officials. Admiral James Rodriguez, head of Earth's Space Force, arrived first. His weathered face remained impassive as he watched the transmission, but Sarah noticed his fingers drumming against his thigh, a tell she'd learned to recognize during their years working together on humanity's space defense programs. Authentication, he asked simply. Confirmed on all levels, Sarah replied. The quantum signature is unlike anything we've seen, but it's definitely not human-made. And the decay pattern matches legitimate faster-than-light transmission methods we've theorized, but haven't achieved yet. And you're certain about the translation. The message came with embedded translation matrices. Whoever sent this wanted to make absolutely sure any receiving civilization could understand it. It's not just in English. It's broadcasting in over 1,000 different mathematical and linguistic patterns. The room grew more crowded as additional officials arrived. Sarah recognized representatives from various space agencies, military branches, and scientific institutions. The air grew thick with tension as the message played again. Defense Minister Helena Walsh spoke first after the viewing. This could be a hoax, or worse, a trap. Some hostile civilization trying to trick us into revealing ourselves. With respect, ministers, Sarah interjected, the quantum mechanics involved in this transmission are beyond our current capabilities. Whoever sent this is far more advanced than we are. If they wanted to harm us, they wouldn't need such an elaborate ruse. Admiral Rodriguez nodded slowly. I agree with Dr. Chen. The question isn't whether this is real, it's what we're going to do about it. The debate that followed was heated but productive. Earth had always known first contact was possible, and protocols existed for various scenarios. But this situation didn't fit any of them. They weren't dealing with a simple hello from alien neighbors or even a direct threat. This was a warning about a galactic political situation humanity hadn't known existed until today. The message mentions a council, General Zhang pointed out. That suggests an organized galactic political structure. If we reveal ourselves now, we'd be stepping into the middle of an existing power dynamic. Sarah pulled up additional data on her holographic display. The quantum signature indicates this message originated approximately 1,200 light-years from Earth, but it was sent using technology that allows for near-instantaneous communication. The fact that we could receive it at all suggests we're within what they consider relevant space, which means we're potentially in the path of this void swarm, Admiral Rodriguez concluded. Minister Walsh crossed her arms. So we have 3 options. We can ignore the warning and maintain our current course of development. We can attempt to contact this council and seek protection despite the warning. Or we can begin preparations for a threat we know nothing about, potentially wasting enormous resources on a danger that might never materialize. The room fell silent as the implications of each choice sank in. Humanity had only recently begun serious space exploration. Their first Mars colony was barely self-sufficient. They had no faster-than-light travel, no energy shields, no weapons that could work in deep space. If this threat was real, Earth was desperately vulnerable. "There's a fourth option," Sarah said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. "We prepare in secret. We don't contact the Council, but we don't ignore the warning either. We use this as motivation to accelerate our development, but we do it quietly. If the threat never materializes, we'll still have advanced our technology. If it does," she let the thought hang in the air. Admiral Rodriguez's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "A shadow defense program. We'd need to maintain all our public space development programs as cover, while channeling significant resources into classified research and development. It would strain our economies," Minister Walsh warned. "Hiding that level of development from the public would be almost impossible." "Not if we don't hide it completely," General Zhang suggested. "We announce an acceleration of our space programs, cite private sector competition, scientific breakthroughs, whatever we need to. The public projects become our cover for the classified ones." The discussion continued for hours, but the core decision was made relatively quickly. Earth would prepare, but carefully. They would walk a delicate line between readiness and revelation. The warning from the Crystalline Collective would remain classified at the highest levels, known only to key leaders and scientists. As the officials filed out of the lab, Sarah stayed behind, staring at the frozen image of the crystalline being. Admiral Rodriguez paused at the door. "Dr. Chen," he called softly, "the weight of this secret, are you prepared for it?" Sarah turned to face him, her expression resolute. "Admiral, my entire career has been devoted to looking for signs of alien life. Now we found it, and their first message to us is a warning about their own extinction. I'm not just prepared to carry this secret, I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to make sure humanity doesn't share their fate." Rodriguez nodded. "Good, because starting tomorrow, you're heading up the Quantum Communications Research Division of Project Shadow Shield. Your job is to figure out how they sent this message, and more importantly, how we can detect more of them." As Sarah watched him leave, she turned back to her console and began composing research parameters. The message continued to play silently in the background, its warning now etched into humanity's future. Somewhere out there, an advanced civilization had fallen. Somewhere out there, a galactic council was ignoring a critical threat. And somewhere out there, the void swarm was moving through space, perhaps already on its way to Earth. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they weren't. But that knowledge came with a terrible burden. Their first contact with alien life hadn't brought friendship or enlightenment. Instead, it had brought a desperate warning and a choice: prepare in secret or risk extinction. Sarah began her work, knowing that somewhere above her, in the vast darkness of space, a clock had started ticking. Humanity's greatest test was coming, and they would face it alone. The silent preparation. 5 years passed like a blur of sleepless nights and endless calculations. Project Shadow Shield had transformed from a hastily conceived contingency plan into humanity's greatest undertaking. Deep beneath the Himalayan mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the heart of what the public knew as the International Quantum Research Center. The reality was far more impressive. The facility stretched for kilometers through the mountain range, its existence hidden by a complex network of legitimate research projects and civilian operations. But its true purpose lay in the massive chamber before her, where the prototype of humanity's first quantum shield generator hummed with barely contained power. Power levels holding steady at 80%. Her assistant, Dr. Marcus Webb, reported from the control station. Quantum field coherence is maintaining within acceptable parameters. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the holographic displays surrounding the generator. They'd rebuilt the alien quantum communication technology from scratch, repurposing its principles into something entirely new. If it worked, they would have defense systems that could potentially match the advanced technology mentioned in the warning message. Admiral Rodriguez entered the chamber, accompanied by several members of the Shadow Shield Oversight Committee. His hair had gone completely gray over the past 5 years, but his bearing remained as sharp as ever. "Dr. Chen," he greeted, "I understand congratulations are in order. Your team's breakthrough with the quantum field manipulation is impressive." "Thank you, Admiral," Sarah replied, turning to face the group. "But we're still far from where we need to be. The power requirements for a planetary-scale shield would be enormous." "That's actually why we're here," Rodriguez said, gesturing to one of his companions. "Dr. Chen, meet Dr. Yuki Tanaka. She's been leading our fusion research division in Antarctica." The woman stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "Dr. Chen, your quantum field technology might be exactly what we need to stabilize our containment fields, and our compact fusion reactors could provide the power source you need." Sarah's mind raced with the possibilities. "You've solved the plasma containment problem." "Not solved," Yuki corrected with a smile, "but transformed it. We stopped trying to fight quantum uncertainty and started working with it." Sound familiar? The two scientists quickly fell into technical discussion, their words becoming increasingly incomprehensible to the others present. Admiral Rodriguez watched with satisfaction. This was exactly why Shadow Shield had been structured with separate research divisions. Breakthrough in one area could catalyze progress in another. The meeting moved to the facility's Strategic Command Center, where a massive holographic display showed the status of various Shadow Shield installations around the world. To the public, they appeared as everything from mining operations to weather research stations. In reality, each one represented a piece of humanity's hidden defense network. "The Chinese government has approved the expansion of the climate research facility in the Gobi," General Zhang reported, highlighting a section of the map. "That will give us coverage of the entire Asian continent once the SHIELD network is operational." Minister Walsh, her face showing more lines than 5 years ago, studied the display. "The economic strain is becoming harder to hide. Too many resources are being diverted to Shadow Shield projects, which is why today's breakthrough is so crucial," Rodriguez countered. "Dr. Tanaka's fusion technology isn't just for military applications. We can begin discovering clean fusion power for civilian use. The energy revolution will justify our resource allocation and fund further development." Sarah understood the delicate balance they were maintaining. Every advance in their secret preparations had to be matched with a carefully controlled public revelation. Too much progress would draw unwanted attention, too little would leave them vulnerable. The discussion was interrupted by a priority alert from the quantum detection array Sarah had developed. Her heart raced as she pulled up the data. Another alien transmission. But no, this was different. The quantum signatures were unlike anything they detected before, and they were coming from the direction of Proxima Centauri. "Admiral," Sarah called, her voice tense, "I'm detecting unusual quantum activity at the edge of our solar system. The pattern suggests, I think something is preparing to drop out of faster-than-light travel." The room erupted into controlled chaos as emergency protocols activated. 5 years of preparation were about to be tested, ready or not. "How long?" Rodriguez demanded. "At current acceleration, 12 hours, maybe less." "Launch the Sentinel satellites," Rodriguez ordered. The supposedly ordinary communication satellites carried Shadow Shield's most advanced sensor packages. "Get me real-time data on whatever's coming our way." Sarah's fingers flew over her console, coordinating with teams around the world. The quantum shield prototype would have to be ready, even if it was only partially tested. Dr. Tanaka was already contacting her fusion facilities. "Sir," Sarah said, looking up from her calculations, "the quantum signature. It's similar to the patterns we extracted from the crystalline collective's warning message. Not identical, but related." Rodriguez's expression darkened. "Either we're about to meet some friends of our mysterious benefactors, or the things that destroyed them have found us. Sarah finished. The next 12 hours would determine whether humanity's secret preparations had been enough. As Sarah worked to bring the prototype shield online, she couldn't help but think of that first warning message. The Crystalline Collective had tried to prepare but failed. Humanity had taken their warning seriously, but had they done enough? Had they developed the right technologies? Made the right choices? Around the world, Shadow Shield facilities activated their cover protocols. Civilian projects were quietly suspended, public satellites were subtly repositioned, and weapons systems disguised as research equipment were brought online. Everything they had built in secret was about to be revealed, not to their own people, but to whatever was about to emerge from faster-than-light travel near their solar system. Sarah looked at the quantum shield prototype, its blue-white energy field humming with potential. 5 years ago, humanity had chosen to prepare in secret. Now they would find out if that choice would save them or if, like the Crystalline Collective, their preparations would prove insufficient against whatever horrors lurked in the depths of space. The clock was ticking, and humanity's first real test was about to begin. The darkness arrives. The vessel that emerged from faster-than-light travel was nothing like they had expected. Instead of the dreaded void swarm, a single ship appeared near Jupiter's orbit. Its crystalline structure caught the sunlight, creating prismatic patterns that reminded Sarah of the being from the warning message. Configuration matches Crystalline Collective design patterns we extracted from the original transmission, she reported, studying the sensor data in Shadow Shield's command center. But there's significant damage to their hull structure. Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward, watching the holographic display. Life signs. Minimal power readings. Their systems appear to be running on emergency protocols. Sarah paused, checking additional data streams. Sir, they're broadcasting on the same quantum frequency as the warning message. The alien transmission filled the command center. To the civilization of the third planet. We are survivors of the Crystalline Collective. We detected your quantum technology experiments. Please, we seek asylum. The Council hunts us. The revelation sent ripples of tension through the command center. This wasn't the threat they had prepared for. It was something potentially more complicated. It could be a trap, Minister Walsh warned. The Void Swarm could be using survivors as bait. Or, General John countered, we could be looking at exactly what they claim to be. Refugees with information we desperately need. Admiral Rodriguez made his decision. Dr. Chen, send a response on the same quantum frequency. Let them know we received their original warning 5 years ago. Offer emergency landing clearance at the lunar base facility. The next few hours were a carefully choreographed dance of caution and preparation. The crystalline vessel, operating on failing systems, was guided to humanity's secret military installation on the far side of the moon. To the public, it was a mining operation. In reality, it housed some of Shadow Shield's most advanced defense systems. Sarah found herself face to face with actual alien life forms for the first time in human history. The crystalline beings, weakened but alive, were even more striking in person. Their transparent bodies seemed to pulse with internal light, and their movements were gracefully geometric. Their leader, who introduced himself as Navigator Axel, wasted no time with diplomatic niceties. The Void Swarm is worse than we imagined, he reported once basic translation protocols were established. They don't just destroy, they absorb and adapt. Each civilization they consume makes them stronger. The Council, Sarah prompted, you said they're hunting you. Why? Axel's crystalline form dimmed slightly. Because we tried to warn others. The Council believes the only way to survive the swarm is to remain hidden. They enforce a policy of strict technological isolation between species. Any civilization that advances too quickly is suppressed. That's why they're hunting you, Rodriguez concluded. You violated their isolation protocol by sending the warning. Yes, but we couldn't stay silent. The swarm doesn't care about the Council's policies. They find civilizations regardless. Our only hope is to unite and fight. Axel's form brightened as he studied the lunar facility. You've been preparing. Sarah exchanged glances with Rodriguez before responding. Yes. Your warning gave us time. We've developed new technologies, defensive systems. Show me, Axel requested. The next several hours were spent reviewing humanity's developments. The crystalline beings were particularly interested in the quantum shield technology, which they confirmed was headed in the right direction but needed refinement. Then the sensors screamed to life. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Sarah's assistant called out. Massive energy readings. These aren't crystalline ships. Axel's entire form pulsed with alarm. The Council. They must have tracked us here. You have to understand. They'll destroy your entire civilization to maintain their protocol of isolation. They believe it's better to eliminate potential threats than risk them advancing enough to attract the swarm. The holographic display filled with new contacts. Dozens of ships, their designs unlike anything they'd seen, were emerging from faster-than-light travel throughout the solar system. This is the Galactic Council Enforcement Fleet. A new transmission boomed. You have violated isolation protocols by harboring fugitives and developing restricted technologies. Your system is now under quarantine. Prepare for immediate technological suppression. Admiral Rodriguez straightened his uniform. Dr. Chen, initiate shadow shield protocols. All of them. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses revealed themselves. The asteroid belt came alive with concealed weapon platforms. The quantum shield generators activated, creating overlapping fields of protection around Earth and key installations. Fusion-powered defense satellites emerged from their disguised orbits. This is Admiral James Rodriguez of Earth's Defense Force. He transmitted to the Council fleet. We are a sovereign species exercising our right to survival. Any hostile action against our system will be met with full defensive force. Your species is too primitive to comprehend the greater picture, the Council representative responded. Stand down and prepare for suppression. This is your only warning. Sarah looked at the tactical display, watching as the Council ships moved into attack formation. This wasn't the threat they had prepared for, but in a way, it was exactly what Shadow Shield was designed to handle, an advanced force that underestimated humanity's capabilities. Admiral, she said, the quantum shields are fully powered. Fusion reactors are operating at maximum capacity. All defense systems are online. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Send word to all Shadow Shield facilities. This is what we built for. This is what we prepared for. Humanity doesn't stand alone. He glanced at Axel. Will your people fight with us? The crystalline being's form blazed with bright determination. The Council's policy of isolation will doom us all. We stand with Earth. As the Council ships launched their first attacks, humanity's hidden strength was finally unveiled. The battle that would determine Earth's future, and perhaps the fate of all civilizations facing the Void Swarm, was about to begin. Shadow Shield's 5 years of secret preparation were about to be tested against one of the galaxy's most powerful forces. The darkness had arrived, but it wasn't the one they had expected. Yet humanity would face it nonetheless, armed with determination, innovation, and the vindication that their choice to prepare had been the right one, even if it had prepared them for a different threat than they had anticipated. Humanity's Gambit. The first wave of Council weapons splashed harmlessly against Earth's quantum shields, their energy dispersing in spectacular displays of light across the protective barrier. In Shadow Shield's command center, Sarah allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before returning to the task at hand. Quantum shield efficiency at 92%, she reported. The Council's weapons are powerful, but they're using predictable energy patterns. Our adaptive algorithms are already compensating. Admiral Rodriguez nodded, his attention fixed on the tactical display. The Council fleet had split into 3 battle groups, positioning themselves to attack Earth, Mars, and the lunar base simultaneously. They clearly hadn't expected such sophisticated defenses from a primitive species. "Status of Operation Chimera?" he asked. "Ready on your command," General Zhang replied. "All stealth platforms are in position." The Council's second attack wave began, this time with concentrated fire on specific points of the quantum shields. They were probing for weaknesses, trying to overwhelm the defense grid through sheer firepower. It was exactly what humanity had prepared for, just not against the enemy they'd expected. "Now," Rodriguez ordered. Throughout the solar system, humanity's most ambitious defensive innovation activated. Hidden within the quantum shields were specialized energy transmitters, designed to capture and redirect enemy fire. The Council's own weapons energy was collected, processed through the fusion reactors, and channeled back through the quantum field network. "Energy redirection successful," Sarah announced, transmitting to all designated platforms. The asteroid belt came alive. What appeared to be simple defense platforms suddenly illuminated with captured energy. Each platform contained a miniaturized version of the quantum shield technology, but reversed, designed to project force rather than defend against it. "This is impossible," the Council commander transmitted as their sensors detected the energy buildup. "These primitives cannot have mastered quantum field manipulation to this degree. That's humanity's greatest strength," Axel commented from his position near Sarah's station. "You call them primitive, but their very primitiveness means they think differently. They see solutions where older species see only established limits." The asteroid platforms fired in perfect synchronization, unleashing the Council's own weapon energy back at them, but transformed by humanity's quantum field technology into something new. The attacks bypassed the Council ship's shields completely, their own energy signatures allowing the weapons to slip through their defenses. "Direct hits on 60% of Council vessels," General Zhang reported. Their shields were calibrated to defend against external attacks, not their own energy patterns. But the Council fleet was not so easily defeated. Their ships began to adapt, changing shield frequencies and attack patterns. The battle devolved into a complex dance of technology and tactics, with both sides trying to outmaneuver the other. "Dr. Chen," Rodriguez called, "initiate Phase 2. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, activating the next layer of humanity's defense plan. Throughout the solar system, seemingly innocent civilian satellites revealed their true nature. Each one was equipped with a quantum field generator, but not for defense or attack. "Quantum disruption field activating," she announced. "Creating communications dead zones now." The Council fleet's coordinated attacks began to falter as their ships lost contact with each other. Humanity had learned from the original warning message how quantum communications worked, and therefore how to interfere with them. "Their fleet is fragmenting," General Zhang observed. "Individual ship commanders are losing tactical coordination. Launch our counteroffensive," Rodriguez ordered. "All Earth Defense Force ships engage as planned." From hidden bases on Mars, the Moon, and Earth's oceans, humanity's own battle fleet emerged. These ships were smaller than the Council vessels, but more numerous and highly maneuverable. They had been built and trained in secret for 5 years, preparing for this moment. The Earth ships attacked in swarms, using the quantum disruption fields to isolate and overwhelm individual Council vessels. Their tactics were unpredictable, mixing conventional weapons with the quantum field technology in ways the Council had never encountered. "Admiral," Sarah called out urgently, "I'm detecting massive energy buildups in the remaining Council ships. They're preparing something big." The Council commander's transmission cut through the quantum interference. "You leave us no choice. Initiating total suppression protocol. This system's technological advancement must be reset to prevent swarm attraction. They're powering up their primary weapons," Axel warned, his crystalline form pulsing with alarm. "This is why they hunt down advanced civilizations. They don't just defeat them, they bombard them back to a pre-industrial state." Sarah's mind raced. The quantum shields were strong, but a concentrated attack of that magnitude might overwhelm them. Then she saw it, the solution hidden in their own defensive technology. Admiral, permission to execute Emergency Protocol Omega. Rodriguez studied her for a moment, then nodded. Do it. Sarah began redirecting power through the entire quantum field network. Every shield, every weapon platform, every satellite, all connected through the quantum field technology they had developed. The Council ship's energy buildup reached critical levels, preparing to fire. Quantum field inversion in 3, 2, 1. The moment the Council weapons fired, humanity's entire defense network inverted its quantum fields. Instead of trying to block or absorb the massive energy attack, they created a quantum mirror, reflecting the energy back at the Council fleet through their own quantum disruption field. The result was catastrophic for the Council ships. Their own weapons, amplified and twisted by the quantum disruption, tore through their defenses. Dozens of ships lost power or suffered critical damage. Others found their advanced technology temporarily disabled by the quantum feedback. Council fleet's combat effectiveness reduced by 70%, General Zhang reported. Their remaining ships are falling back, attempting to regroup. A new transmission came from the Council commander, their tone markedly different. This is unprecedented. You've developed quantum field technology beyond authorized parameters, yet you've implemented it in ways we never considered possible. Because you never had to truly innovate, Rodriguez replied. You never had to prepare for extinction. We took the warning from the crystalline collective seriously, and we developed these technologies knowing our survival depended on it. The battle wasn't over, but its tide had turned decisively. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of defending against advanced alien technology, but of innovating beyond it. The Council fleet, faced with tactics and technologies they had never encountered, was forced to reevaluate their assumptions about primitive species. Sarah watched the tactical display, monitoring the quantum field network status. They had survived their first major test, but she knew this was just the beginning. The Council would return, possibly with new tactics and technologies. And somewhere out there, the Void Swarm was still coming. But humanity had shown what it was capable of when pressed to the edge of extinction. They had taken an alien warning seriously, prepared in secret, and developed technologies that surprised even those who had hunted down countless other civilizations. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's primitive nature was perhaps its greatest strength. A new dawn. The Council's diplomatic vessel arrived 3 days after the battle, its design noticeably different from their warships. In the newly constructed meeting chamber beneath the Himalayan facility, Sarah watched as representatives from both sides gathered. The contrast was striking. The Council delegates in their ornate technological suits, the human representatives in simple military and civilian attire, and the crystalline refugees gleaming under the chamber's lights. The Council has existed for 50,000 years, the head speaker began, his translator converting his complex language patterns into clear English. In all that time, no species has ever survived a suppression fleet, let alone defeated one. Perhaps, Admiral Rodriguez replied, that says more about your methods than our capabilities. The Council delegation shifted uncomfortably. Their entire system of galactic control had been built on the assumption that younger species could be easily contained. Humanity had shattered that assumption in a single battle. You must understand our position. Another Council member spoke. The Void Swarm is attracted to technological advancement. Our policy of isolation and suppression has kept many sectors of space safe, while sacrificing others. Axel countered, his crystalline form pulsing with emotion. How many civilizations have you condemned to extinction? How many potential allies against the swarm have you destroyed? Sarah stepped forward, drawing their attention to the holographic display she had prepared. We've analyzed the data from both the battle and the crystalline collective's records. Your isolation policy isn't working. The swarm is adapting faster than ever, precisely because they're encountering less resistance. You're making them stronger by keeping civilizations divided. The display showed projections of swarm movements and adaptation rates. The council members studied it with growing concern, seeing their centuries-old assumptions challenged by hard data. "What would you propose instead?" the head speaker asked, his tone suggesting genuine curiosity rather than condescension. Admiral Rodriguez gestured to the quantum field generators humming quietly in the chamber's corners. Humanity developed this technology in just 5 years, based on a single warning message. Imagine what multiple species working together could achieve. Instead of suppressing advancement, we should be encouraging controlled innovation. The Shadow Shield project, Sarah continued, wasn't just about developing weapons. We created new power sources, communication systems, and defensive technologies. All of these have civilian applications that could benefit multiple species. The council delegation conferred among themselves in their native language. The head speaker finally turned back to the human representatives. "Your proposal is radical. It would require a complete restructuring of galactic governance. The alternative," General Zhang pointed out, "is continuing a failed policy until the swarm becomes too powerful for any of us to stop." The negotiations continued for days. Each session revealed more about both sides: the Council's deep-seated fears about uncontrolled advancement, humanity's drive to innovate and survive, and the crystalline refugees' determination to prevent other species from sharing their fate. Finally, a new framework emerged. The Council would maintain its role in governing galactic affairs, but with a crucial change. Instead of suppressing technological advancement, they would help coordinate it. Species would be encouraged to develop defensive capabilities, but under guidelines that emphasized cooperation and shared knowledge. "Earth will serve as a proving ground," Rodriguez explained in the final session. "We'll establish joint research facilities, combining the Council's experience with humanity's innovation. The crystalline collective's survivors will help bridge the gap between our different approaches. And when the Void Swarm arrives," the head speaker asked, "they'll find something they've never encountered before," Sarah answered. "Multiple species working together, combining different technological approaches and strategic thinking. We'll have weapons they can't adapt to because they've never seen anything like them." The agreement was formalized in what would become known as the Terra Accords. Earth would become a center for collaborative technological development, while maintaining its independence from direct council control. The crystalline refugees would be granted asylum and full research privileges. As the council delegation prepared to depart, the head speaker approached Sarah privately. "You understand that some council factions will resist these changes. There will be attempts to undermine the accord." "We expected that," Sarah replied. "It's why we're maintaining our defensive capabilities while sharing our innovations. Trust has to be earned on both sides." The speaker's translator produced what might have been a laugh. "You humans, you prepare even for peace." After the delegation left, Sarah found herself in the quantum physics lab, where everything had started 5 years ago. The original warning message was still stored in their systems, a reminder of how far they had come. Thinking deep thoughts, Admiral Rodriguez asked, joining her at the console. "About how one message changed everything," she replied. "We prepared for the Void Swarm, but ended up changing the entire galaxy's power structure instead." "The swarm is still coming," he reminded her. Sarah nodded, pulling up the latest designs for improved quantum field technology. "Yes, but now we're not just preparing to survive them. We're preparing to defeat them. And we're not doing it alone anymore." Across the solar system, ships from various species were already arriving. Scientists, engineers, and strategists ready to collaborate on new defensive technologies. Earth's victory over the Council fleet had proven that innovation could overcome even the most advanced existing technology. The quantum field generators pulsed steadily, their rhythm like a heartbeat for this new era of galactic cooperation. Humanity had faced its first major interstellar crisis and emerged not just victorious, but as a catalyst for change. They had proven that being primitive didn't mean being weak. It meant being adaptable, innovative, and unbound by traditional limitations. As Sarah began working with a team of human, council, and crystalline scientists on a new project, she reflected on how their preparation for one threat had equipped them to handle another. The Void Swarm was still out there, growing stronger with each civilization it consumed. But now, thanks to humanity's example, the galaxy was finally preparing to face it together. The warning that had once promised only doom had led to something unprecedented: hope. And in the vast darkness of space, that hope shone like a beacon, signaling the dawn of a new age in galactic history.